So here we go again. After some technical fuck up. We are here with a special guest, Zvuk&Čuk edition artist talks. I'm here with Dylanh and part of that Divine label, one half of two drama queens. You might have seen him playing alongside with Nikuli and other prominent Bulgarian and foreign artists, thanks to the parties organized by our friends from That Divine. And we're here to talk on occasion of their first release and also an upcoming party which is happening tomorrow in Sofia at the backyard. It's gonna be inside the studio because of the weather conditions, and attention everyone, because there's been some misunderstanding. So the party is gonna start at 10 p.m. and we'll be there all night. So thanks for coming along.
Thanks for the invitation.
You're welcome. Tell us something about the release. Of course, that's one of the most exciting things that happened, I guess, on local ground, but also for you as an artist. How long have you been working on the release, and how did it happen actually to...
Too long.
Too long.
It was too long. So basically everything started with the idea of Nikuli. You know, one day he just come with it and said, I think that we should start a label. Then he spoke with the other guys and we said, okay, let's just do it. And I think that it was a normal direction, you know, like having parties is one thing, but like having a label on the other side, just put everything together. And we started knowing nothing. We learned a lot in the process. We faces some major issues, like for example the test press failed 5 times, so everything took about 1 year to be made, but fortunately we did it, and right now the vinyl is almost sold out on every record store.
So that's actually good news.
It's a pretty good news. I think that it's amazing news because it took only 3 weeks.
So everyone that's interested in buying the vinyl and getting a copy, we're streaming here from TABA Records. It's one of the best places for underground quality electronic music and vinyl culture here in Sofia. Thanks for hosting us, and I'm sure there is still some copies left here.
I think they are, yeah.
Make sure to secure yourself a copy. I heard actually from the guys earlier on when we were speaking that you're already planning a repress.
We're thinking about it. Of course, it's directly related to the demand, but I think that we will have more information in the upcoming weeks.
Okay, so that's, let's say, part of the business talk. But speaking to you as an artist, and you know, actually it's pretty common that an artist works for many years. Recently I saw the release of one of our friend Kants, who's been making music for 25 years or so and more, and he just did his first release. So I mean, it's pretty common, I guess, especially if you're in the realm of also DJing. So quite often a producer and an artist is also DJing, and probably you take more time into preparing your sets and touring and making parties than actually into focusing on your music.
To be honest, I started making music. I mean, I started experimenting with sound because I never felt that I'm making music, you know, because I'm not a musician. From a really early age, and you know, I never did it with the idea that I will release it someday, you know. It was just me having fun, you know, expressing my emotions. And the thing is that I always knew that someday I will release a vinyl, but there was no particular goal, you know, like I never felt that, okay, this year it will be it, you know. And even with this track that I just released, I released it under pressure of other people, you know, like it was never my initial idea. Like, for example, I did the track 3 years ago and I never finished it. And thanks to Vescu Sumrak, he's really known underground Sofia producer. I mean, right now he stopped making music. Now he's making babies.
Somebody's gotta go to the parties.
Yes, of course. And it was about him because I just sent him a demo and I said, look, just take a listen, you know, like I did this. And he said that it's really nice, and he asked if I can give him like a demo version so he can play it in Concept Space for Sunrise 24. And after this party, there was like, I don't know, like I never expected to have such, how to say it, such a feedback from the people, you know, they really loved it. But unfortunately, this was not enough for me to finish the track. Of course. And long story short, 3 years later, Nikolai from Dead Divine told me that probably I should do it after we already had the idea of making a label. So I sat down. It took me 3 months actually to finish it because unfortunately for me, I'm a perfectionist, you know, like it's never good enough. But here we are, like the track is done, it's released. The release is almost sold out, and I think we did a pretty good job.
Can we also... it can always be better. So can we also speak about the other artists which are actually featured on the release?
Yes, of course.
It's also people that I've known, and I've met some of them actually. Christopher Ledger, for instance, he was part of the Dead Divine party, I think last year in Varna. The port.
I would like to thank to Christopher for making such an amazing job with the remix duties. I mean, he's amazing producer. I think that it was quite easy for him. He did it pretty fast, but you know, like he's on a different level, and his remix really catch the vibe of the track, but just put it through his eyes, you know, or through his ears. Maybe it's more suitable. And on the big side, the other track is by Mumchu, Factual. He's a really nice guy in general, you know, besides that he makes amazing music.
We all know him. Good guy.
And I think that his track just completes the whole record, you know, like it just fits really well.
Just because we spoke briefly about the whole ecosystem of, you know, starting a series of parties, promotional events, and then gathering together, let's say, a circle of artists, which are more or less they're bonded by the parties. Because for me, as a listener, as a consumer of this culture and music, I've known these artists through the parties that Dead Divine organizes. So it's a very smart approach. And do you plan for next releases also to collaborate with artists that we've seen maybe playing at your parties? So let's say tomorrow you're playing alongside with Erve.
Yes.
Very interesting artist also coming from Amsterdam. I'm just going to read the Polychrome audio label, and they also have a radio show, I think. So is it a common thing for you to bond through the work that you do as a DJ during the parties and then select the collaborators, or do you think?
I mean, there are always possibilities. Of course, at first, it's really important for the person that we are booking to actually make music. And if they do, and if they align with what we're doing, I mean that the possibilities are endless, you know, like there is always a chance of it. I mean, I'm not saying that this is the plan. I think that our initial plan was at first to give like a stage for smaller artists, you know, to finally have their chance of releasing music on vinyl, because I know that this is pretty important, you know, like...
Who was the smallest artist that played? Like, who was the shortest? Not Nikuli, definitely.
That's for sure.
Tell us more about the party tomorrow, actually, because I'm very excited and everybody is. We know it's like already kind of summer season is over. Mic drop. So the summer season is over, and
unfortunately,
you did quite a bit. I think that Divine was pretty active this summer again. But actually, the new season is looking pretty exciting. You know, starting from this party that you're organizing tomorrow and you're also playing, opening and closing.
Yes.
In Sofia, and then I've heard some really great news about the Amsterdam dance event and the 2 performances that Dylanh will have. So tell me more about tomorrow's party.
Okay, tomorrow we are taking over the Zoki studio, I think. Is this the correct place?
Studio Zoki, yeah.
I was there today, and the place looks amazing. Like,
I've been there already.
It's really amazing. It's super nice. I mean, it's a bit pity that we will not be able to do it outside because of the weather. As you said, the summer is over. But actually, I think that the inside is even better. You know, like it looks really great. You know, like you have these high ceilings. It's spacious. You have a lot of flowers, which just adds a lot to the overall vibe. And we're gonna use a really nice sound system, thanks to the guys of Mesmeric. Like they have like a pretty decent stack of void acoustics. And I'm gonna open for Hervé. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'm on the opening duties. Then he will continue for I think 2-3 hours or maybe more if he feels like playing more. And then I'm gonna close it.
So what time does the party start? Let's announce.
It will start at 10 o'clock and it will end at 6, but maybe we can extend it a bit.
That sounds promising. So next up on my list of questions is actually organizing parties and doing a party, organizing an event like the Studio Zoki. I've been there twice, I think, already as part of the Simple Spaces parties, and it was both times very different. Once it was inside, and then the second time was outside in the yard. And actually, what struck me last time is that I mean, it's a bit of a criticism, maybe, but of course, it's my feedback. The visuals, you know, when I say visuals, the ambience, the energy created by the lights, the colors, and the light was not really corresponding for me personally to the vibe, and at some point it was really
chaotic.
Like chaotic in a way, but also it made me think of like the aspect of the visual side of choosing the spot, choosing the location, and setting the right mood for the right sound, which is very, very tricky business. You know, making a party is not just going with some amazing sound system and getting to some good artists to play. It's actually creating the right vibe. So who's collaborating with you on this? It's a very important task, I think, for the party tomorrow.
The collaborating, I think that this is a question for my colleagues. Can I get a hint?
Yeah, for the visuals tomorrow.
So for all of our parties, we're working with Elena. She's a great person and a really great professional. She's doing like amazing job always to set the mood. Mainly she works with the visuals, and lights. But I think that this time there will be only lights. And you know, like for me it's always super important. Like the light settings is always super important. And my color of choice is always red. So I really would like my colleagues to take this into consideration.
So we can't promise the color scheme, but hopefully it's gonna be tuned in a nice red.
Yeah, but the thing is that I think that already the place is giving like 50% or maybe more of the job done, you know? Because it really looks amazing. I've been there for the first time today and I fell in love with it. So just a little bit of lighting and the right placement of the system would be completely enough.
So just to go back to the future plans and the important actually next step in the development of your label, of your whole crew, let's say, it's part of a 10-year, 20-year plan. I don't know. I mean, it's how many years ahead. But I know now Dylanh is taking part also at the Amsterdam Dance Event Week. Can you say something more about this collaboration? Firstly, how did it happen? Was it some kind of a spontaneous idea or invitation from someone who extended the invitation? Because we know it's a pretty important major event in the European electronic music scene, so not everybody can really get there. So it's a really great achievement. But also to have 2 events, it's quite major.
Yeah, really, we're really proud of it. And the whole idea of Amsterdam started, I think, like a year and a half ago. We already tried to establish some connections and organize some events, but it can be pretty tricky and hard to do it abroad, because it's one thing to do it in Bulgaria, because here we are doing it for, I don't know, more than 10 years. And we already have like the connections, and most of the time, we have the community, we know what we are doing, also people know what to expect. And when you try to expand to a country when literally nobody knows about you, it's pretty hard. But yeah, of course, the competition it's pretty, especially on ADE, the competition is huge. I don't want to swear, sorry. But I think that when you put the hard work and when you really believe in the idea and you really love what you're doing, it will become reality at some point. And this year, as you said, like we have 2 events. The first will be an in-store session in one of our friends. Like she moved to Amsterdam, she opened like a tattoo barbershop studio. So we're gonna make an in-store session with one of our resident, Algorithm. It's gonna be on Friday. I'm not sure about the date. I think it was 17, 18. Okay, yeah, okay, pretty close. And Sunday, we're gonna move to, I'm always mistaking the name of this venue, Kom's music venue. I'm really sorry if somebody from Netherlands is listening. No disrespect for your country, but it's just hard to say it. And we're gonna take it over. Basically, the party will be something like after party, because it starts in the morning at 10 and 12. Okay, it's the same,
I think all the details you can actually find on the Dylanh website, which is a great source of information.
Subscribe.
Yeah, you should subscribe. I'm a subscriber since many years. Since I saw that somebody used my photo for the background of the site. And so, yes, subscribing is very essential. You get all the updates, and I get also the early ticket invitations and everything else.
And I think that we put a really nice lineup. So it's going to be me and Nikolai, of course. It's 2 drama queens, accompanied by Chocolate, Andrei Pushkarev, and Downside. And also the sound system, because I look at the specs, it's gonna be great. We have a huge sound system. So
are you organizing your shuffles living from Varna or Sofia or something? some kind of van?
We wish. We wish a helicopter.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, but we're really excited about it. It's gonna be my second international gig, if I can put it. And also, playing on ADE, it sounds like a really big responsibility, to be honest. I really understand that we need to be prepared and we need to do our best, and we will.
I'm pretty sure you're gonna exceed the expectations. Also, from my personal observation, like such events, they're so overcrowded with very popular Western big names, etc. So a lot of people are looking for the fresh new names. Also a country like Bulgaria, it's pretty much underrepresented, so I think it's gonna be pretty exciting to see the feedback.
Yeah, definitely.
Not sure I can join you, but if not, keeping my fingers crossed. So I suggest we take a break with some more music, and then we take another 10 minutes to talk about the visual side and the collaboration with Noyo Noev, who created the artwork for the vinyl. I'm very interested in this. And yeah, so
See you.
see you.
See you.
The decks are yours. Hello, hello.
From the Vatican.
Straight from the Vatican. Up to your synagogue.
The new Pope has arisen.
Haile Selassie. So we're back for the second half of our talk. As I promised, we're gonna talk a little bit also about the collaboration with visual artists, because I come from a background of visual arts. I'm a curator, I'm a collector. First of all, I started collecting like artist books, super small editions, very similar to vinyls. Actually, the problems of the art book are very similar to the vinyl, because the less you print, the less you create, the more you're actually going to be at a loss at the end. It's not, it's not a business-oriented enterprise. It's more like sharing, creating a network, connecting with other artists and promoting your work. But it's definitely not a money-making business. But one of the beauties, actually, when I was studying in college in Brighton, and I had a very interesting lecture, History of Music and Graphic Design. So a really amazing example how visual artists and musicians can collaborate is the vinyl. The vinyl sleeve. So your artwork was created by Noyo Noev. We're going back.
Exactly.
And tell us more about this artist.
Actually, he have been discovered by Nikolai, aka Kotkata. He's a friend of yours. I didn't know that. But basically, he did an amazing job. Like he made something that really complements the release, because it tells the actual story of the music. And I think that this is really necessary, like when you're making a release, it's really necessary all the elements to work together. And he did an amazing job.
So first of all, I always wanted to come to this point. Can we try to translate the title of the release? Because it's very, okay, we don't have any censorship here, obviously, we're lucky. This is not Bulgarian national radio, so it's a very specific situation that translates very well in the slang of Bulgarian. But can you try to translate for the English speakers, because this is also adding a lot. Sometimes the title and actually the lyrics, if we can call it lyrics, so in the track there is a conversation going on. They're very, very important, I think, to comprehend the...
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So the exact translation of the title would be three guys and a half. But the thing is that half doesn't mean like a half person or a half man. It means like, can I say it? Like exactly, Okay, it's a half of bag.
So let's say half of something that is not a person, it's not a man, it's not a woman, it's something that comes in a bag.
That you can carry in a bag.
It can be like half a kilo of flour, baking powder.
Things that you can buy, you can find on the ground.
Okay, baking. Let's call it half of a bag of baking powder. And so, what about the story? These three guys, three friends, they are together with this bag of baking powder, half a bag, and then what happens?
Actually, it's one guy with three friends in his head.
So it's like a split personality, okay?
Yes, and they are just fighting for attention, I guess.
I can relate.
Yeah, I think that most of us can relate. And like it's about those intrusive thoughts that actually manifest.
And then all of a sudden there's also this situation when one of the guys he's calling to announce a bomb, which is something also very specific. I would like to translate for the context of our non-Bulgarian listeners and friends. So when we were kids, also not only that time, but first time that someone would call for a bomb, to announce a bomb, was when you would have like a test or a difficult day at school, and then you could call the school administration and announce there is a bomb in the school premises. So according to the law, obviously you're like commenting at that, announcing it, that there's a bomb. And because of the stupid administration and law, even though there was no bomb, they had to close the school for one day to search for a bomb, which of course nowadays can be translated into an airport closing or a bus station or whatever. So he goes for a bomb.
Yes, he does.
Why?
I don't know. I'm not sure that we can ask him, like...
I guess he's having so much fun that he doesn't want to go to work next day, maybe.
You can say that. I think that you can say that.
So starting from this little like introduction that we did for the specific language situation, then Noyo Noev created this artwork, which is very...
Yes, exactly. And I really like how he put all those little details, like that are actually reflecting pretty well the story, like he even put like a LSD tap on the tongue of one of the guys. Or the guy, we're still not sure if there are three, if it's one person.
I mean, you mean those little chocolate smiley faces they put on the cakes?
Yeah,
because it's baking powder and
on
the
the
cakes.
candies,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Also, at one point throughout the conversation or the lyrical split personality, someone's calling the psychologist or the shrink.
Actually, the whole conversation is in the shrink's office. This is the thing, yeah. But we just left it a little bit more open to interpretations.
So just to put something which nobody probably knows, maybe you know, but I was with Nikuli a week ago, and he was showing me the new studio that he's working on. And on the same floor of the office building where the studio is, there is a fortune teller.
Okay.
Her name is Sonia. You don't know that, but she's right next to the studio of Nikuli, your other half.
My better half.
Better half of Powder. And so next to the studio there is a fortune teller. I'm not joking. There is a sign on the door saying like a fortune teller and huge letters Sonia. And Nikuli said, yeah, I think in one of the next releases we're gonna speak with Sonia for the future. So you learned something new.
I'm more than sure that she have something to tell about it.
And then we go back to Noyo Noev for the artwork, actually.
For the amazing artwork.
For the amazing artwork. One of the things that I really admire when it comes to vinyls and vinyl sleeves is when there's like so many layers. There's like a poster, you open a booklet, and there's more, things coming out, info, graphics, etc. So are you planning, maybe, this is also a question for Kotka who's here, but I'm asking
for the
you.
Cat.
The kitty cat. That defines. So like... are you planning maybe for the repress? Because I'm also going back to my, my knowledge about books. So normally, if a book is reprinted, a second edition of a book, it can be the same book, but normally the design will change. Something is upgraded.
Okay.
So are you thinking maybe the repress should be upgraded a bit?
To be honest, we didn't thought about that. First of all, it's the main reason that creating something more like an artwork for a vinyl record raised the costs tremendously. So I mean, I never thought actually how expensive printing a vinyl is, and this is actually a great idea, and I think that Kotkata should consider it for sure.
Yeah, we were talking in the break about some funding opportunities and projects that you can actually finance your work and do something extra with public funds and different programs. So this is something that could actually work because it's adding value to the product.
Of course.
To be honest, vinyl is very visual. It's a very visual product. The other day I was here with my kids, with Vadi, and just because we had to do some work, I asked them like, okay, just not to bother me, get off my head. Each of you choose 3 records, just buy the pictures, and then we're gonna hear them and we're gonna decide which one is the better sound. And it's actually pretty amazing because the visuals are attracting, even a child. A child doesn't know anything about the label, doesn't know anything about the artist, but the visuals, similar visuals, come with similar sound. So like Pirin, my son, was more into the break beats and breaks, very like broken graphics, very strong visuals, colors, and abstract and street kind of vibe. While Vivian was going for more like photographic stuff, and it would normally be something more old school, like old school hip hop or like some strange German children's songs. And so the visual is actually communicating a lot, especially if you have a vinyl in a record shop and someone is coming just randomly to choose vinyls. To make the person pick up this object, you need to talk to the eyes first. Of course.
It's the first thing that grabs your attention. For example, if you're digging up for the records in a vinyl shop or online or whatever, it's the most, like the first thing that catches you, like it's not even catch your eye because it can catch a feeling inside you. And for that reason, I'm really happy with the work of Noyu, especially with the colors he used, because red, it's a color in the nature that actually alarms your subconsciousness first. For
colors is red, yellow, and black. It's
black,
very primary colors.
Yeah. But exactly, red usually grabs your attention. Like it's an evolutionary thing, and we did this on purpose. Because the initial idea was to have something that will grab the person's attention right away, And with this thing, even if the person is not looking specifically for your sound, he can still, take a listen, and then he can decide if he likes it or not. It's super important.
I think also my first memory of a record shop was when I was in the UK. I was a college student and I went to Rough Trade in London. And so like Rough Trade is like a huge palace, like for vinyls and CDs and everything. And the wall space, the space where they would actually promote certain releases, it was like a gallery for me.
Yes.
And actually that's how I started approaching interesting new music, because I was listening more I was more into rock music, punk, and then slowly electronic music attracted me because of the difference of the visuals also,
Of course, also you can see that when you have like a nice graphics, it means that somebody actually sat down and did the work, invested his time to make something that will work with the audio, and with this you have like complete, I don't want to use the word product, but at the end people are buying it.
It's a
product.
Well, I don't know what else to ask. It was made in Paint, but
in Microsoft
this doesn't really matter because like, nowadays with so many instruments, so many possibilities to create, I stopped caring like who's doing what and how. I just care about the end product, let's say the end result, because honestly gifted artists can also draw with a stick on a wall and it's gonna be looking better than some really expensive paint.
Yes, of course. Art also can be to take something like a piece of art and to take another piece of art and just use fragments of it, and create something new. And you know, like when I was little, for example, I fell into this trap with making music that, oh, I don't want to use loops, I don't want to use other people's stuff, you know. Right now, as you said, like I take everything I like and try to put it in a new context. So like art is unlimited. You can do whatever the fuck you want, you know, and this is the beauty of it.
I totally agree. So you named, I mean, the process, you know, using everything and etc. But inspiration is something that comes before everything. You know, you said you were experimenting for many years with sound. I can understand that. I also do it as it's like a private thing to me.
Yes.
But I know that what stimulated me was definitely some artists. So would you be able to name a few? I would say artists, producers, but also musicians. It doesn't have to be electronic musicians, of course, that really inspired you to approach music, because
There is only one, actually. It's Leon from Prodigy.
that's easy then.
It's like the answer is pretty easy, you know. Like there is only one person, like amazing artist, you know, like amazing artist.
So I saw your folder in the drive with Prodigy. Would you play for the end of our talk, like something that really is like
Yes.
ringing
yes.
the bell?
Yes, definitely.
Cool. Thanks a lot for the talk and being here with us.
Thanks for the invitation. It was a pleasure.
Pleasure, little leisure. So I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow. Well, actually, nobody's listening now, but who's gonna listen to this? We probably had a lot of fun on Saturday, and maybe see you on the next events. Follow That Divine. Follow TABA Records. Don't follow me.
Don't be a sheep. Don't follow anyone.
Yeah. And enjoy your life in music.
Namah